Joining us now for the first time is Crystal Wright, editor and publisher of conservativeblackchick.com. Hey, Crystal, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fine, fine. Glad to talk to you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's focus, if we can, because I've been talking about two cases. I know you were on hold a little bit the last half hour, and you heard me talk about the tasing incident in Miami, but also this bus beating. You know, it's gotten a lot of media coverage, but it's gotten media coverage because they're focusing on whether or not this bus driver should have intervened, should have done more, will be charged with child endangerment. And I don't see it that way. I mean, this is a 60-plus-year-old guy. He can't stop these 15-year-old kids who are beating this kid.
Yeah, and I didn't hear about it, actually. I think I saw Alan West tweet it, but I was tweeting there's another incident, apparently, where a young girl was also, you know, did you see about that? This black kid, he killed her and then put her in a trash can. No,
where is that? When did that happen?
I tweeted that earlier today.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, no, when I first saw this, the 5, Greg Gutfeld, you know, he was right. He's like, you know, here we go. We have a situation where you have 3 black boys who are beating a white boy, and liberals are completely silent on it. Like he said, this has nothing to do with the bus driver.
Right.
He would have made matters worse.
Absolutely. He probably would have got hurt himself, had a heart attack, something terrible would have happened.
All you have to do is look at the video. These boys are not only beating, like Greg Gutfeld said from Fox, you know, the 5, they're pulling up their saggy pants, all the stuff Don Lemon talked about, and he takes the other hand, pulls up the saggy pants with one hand on his behind, over his behind, then he punches the kid, then he stomps on the kid with his foot.
Yeah, no, it was a horrific beating. And I think Gutfeld also said, if I'm not mistaken, I happened to hear his commentary also. I think I watched it on online after the fact. I think he said that they were going to kill this kid. They weren't going to stop.
Well, look, here's what the police did. Okay, the bus driver was so traumatized. He said, he tells the 911 dispatcher, "No, you've got to get somebody here, quick, quick, quick."
Right.
They're about to beat this boy to death over here. And you see the bus driver going up to the kids, yelling at them. We all know that teenagers are very powerful. A 15-year-old, 17-year-old can overpower a 70-year-old. But this is a classic example about how the media, liberals, especially black liberals and race baiters like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, see what they want to see. They create the reality that they want to create. The fact is, all the research shows that there are more blacks in prison, more blacks committing violent crimes than whites, and we as a people only represent 13% of the population. So when 3 black kids kick almost, you know, I would argue they're trying to beat this white kid to death, that's like turn the other way. I don't see that. But let me tell you, if it was reversed and 3 white boys were kicking Trayvon Martin, a kid Trayvon Martin's age, the outrage.
Absolutely. As I said, we would have heard about it from Al Sharpton.
It's disgusting.
And that would have been the focal point of it all. And it's funny, I guess this kid, if Barack Obama had a son, this kid wouldn't have looked like him.
Right, but, you know, Barack Obama is half white, although I call him black because he looks like, you know, he's what people don't understand about, and I'm not mixed race, as people always are trying to tell me. Black people are always trying to tell me what color black I am. Both my parents are black, but, you know, most people, I know people who have parents that, you know, one's white, one's black, or whatever the combination is. Ultimately, a person identifies with the way they look. So Barack Obama grew up and identified himself as a black man. And Halle Berry does the same thing. You do ultimately choose the way you socialize because we are like animals in a way. Humans tend to, you know, we group with like-minded people. We also group based on our appearance. There's nothing wrong with that. There is a certain sense of tribalism to how we are as Homo sapiens. But he's not saying, oh, if I had a son, he'd look like that little white boy that was beat to death.
No, well, he wasn't beaten. He wasn't. Well, thank God he wasn't beaten to death. I mean, let's.
No, but he was close to it. The boy has 2 black eyes.
Yeah.
I think he has a broken arm. The point is, the president of the United States shouldn't wade in incidents.
Right.
You know, last time I looked, Al Qaeda is regenerating itself, but he wants to talk about Trayvon Martin and a case that a jury found Zimmerman not guilty. So, you know, he was judged by a jury of his peers. What the president did is he said, don't have any confidence if you're black in our judicial system.
Right. No, and of course the Attorney General did the same thing when he said he was troubled by the verdict, and then set up a hotline to find any information. Right. If anyone knew anything that we could get this guy again, please let me know.
We don't need Eric Holder. If you're listening, why don't you do your freaking job? And why don't you prosecute terrorists as war criminals, not as civilians? Why don't you deal with that and stop doing like these crazy things that are off the mark for the Attorney General, like voter ID laws?
We're talking to Crystal Wright, editor and publisher of ConservativeBlackChick.com. Let me ask you one more, Crystal, and that was Oprah. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have been, but I was a little taken aback because it was only the Jesse Jacksons of the world who I had mentioned, who went and mentioned Emmett Till in the same breath as Trayvon Martin and said Emmett Till is Trayvon Martin. And then I played the cut yesterday of Oprah saying that it's the same thing to her. It is exactly the same thing to her. And I sat there with my mouth open because how could anybody with any brains, unless they're, trying to race bait and stir up trouble like I believe Jackson and the others kind of want to do, why would Oprah think that? Does she really believe that?
Well, probably more than two things. First, I was like you. I was a bit horrified and shocked at her ignorance. And I think she knows darn well. I think the problem with Oprah is she's not relevant anymore. The show ended. She's trying to her own network. And now she's got a movie, The Butler, so she wanted to promote it. So she said, let me say something to make, the black race mongers happy and the black masses. Because Oprah, too, to me, she sunk to, and she took the low road on that one, because she, once again, is thinking, all black people think alike. All black people don't know their history. And it brought tears to my eyes when I talked about this on the Glenn Beck show this week. Because my parents, I grew up, and my parents, we had constant reminders of racism because both my parents grew up in the segregated South. They sat in at lunch counters. My mom will tell you heartbreaking stories of riding the bus as a 13-year-old from her ballet class. She was sitting in the back of the bus. A white man gets up and tells her to move, and she's already in the back of the bus. She refused to move, okay? So don't talk to me and my parents sitting in at lunch counters, my father being the only black in his class at the Medical College of Virginia, getting graded lower than the white students that he would help tutor. Okay, so you know what, Oprah? You suck, okay? And you're disgusting because you perpetuate the racial divide that young people who don't know Emmett Till, I'm not even going to, we probably don't have time.
No, I went through it in a brief synopsis. I mean, Emmett Till,
that young man,
he dared to talk to a white woman
but he didn't talk to her.
Said hello, whatever.
During the story, he went into the store to buy candy.
Right.
He got nervous. He whistled to calm his nerves because he would stutter. He was a stutterer. His mom taught him to whistle to stop him from stuttering and calm him down. He got killed for being black and stuttering at a white woman.
And they took him out of his bed and gave him a horrific death and put a wire around his neck and threw him in a river. And that's Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin.
Wow.
Who actually fought. You know what? I'm going to say it on your show. I didn't say it when I was appearing on Dr. Drew. I continue to get death threats from black Americans. I think Trayvon Martin was a little thug in the making. Okay? Now, I don't think he deserved to die. I think Zimmerman was stupid for trying to, neighborhood watch people should watch. Okay? But remember, Zimmerman went back toward the car after he called the police. He wasn't defined when the police.
No, Crystal, I have ended relationships with liberal counterparts on this show that I would have on regularly because they continue to perpetuate that lie that he disobeyed the police and left the car when they told him not to. That was an absolute. Look, I had Mark O'Mara on a couple of weeks ago after the trial, and he said that's become an urban myth. And by the way, here's the reason. And again, I think it was an accident.
You know the evidence because
nobody followed the case like I did. But let me just say also this: you will not see a civil trial, a civil lawsuit filed against Zimmerman because the parents will not allow that information to come out about the. First of all, another myth: he did not have iced tea with him.
No, it was fruit. It was Arizona fruit.
And you combine that with the Skittles and the cough medicine, and you got lean.
If people would take the time to go to the George Zimmerman, what's Mara's site? You have the URL.
Well, I don't know. All you got to do is go listen to my interview with O'Mara. I mean,
what I'm saying is he has a site. I think people need to do themselves a courtesy where you can. I click through the evidence photos.
Yeah.
It's all on Mark O'Mara's site with the case, the
Okay.
George Zimmerman case. My point is, it was Arizona fruit juice. You take Arizona fruit juice,
and Skittles,
and Robitussin, any codeine-based cough syrup to make lean. All the text messages, the parents, you're right, aren't going to file civil suit because it shows that Trayvon was a little thug. He called women hoes and bitches. He also wanted to learn how to get high. His friends is telling him how to make lean. He wanted a gun. He was not an innocent, and his parents really didn't care about him. Let's go there. They were not good parents.
Well,
the mom kicked him out of her house.
Well, there was one
the father's been twice divorced.
There was one interview, and I'm just going to say that this is not a reflection on Trayvon at all, but it's interesting. This is a reflection on the media. Anderson Cooper interviewed the stepmom of Trayvon Martin, who she said, I saw this. She was crying. She said, I raised him. I raised this young man. I was his mother. She said, and at the funeral, they made me sit in the 5th row.
I know my mom actually was telling me about
and
this.
Nobody else booked this woman. Nobody.
Right. Well, listen to this, though. As I understand it, his second wife helped raise Trayvon because Trayvon was very young when Sabrina and Tracy got divorced.
Right.
So she said, I felt like a mother to this child.
Right. I saw her say this.
Right. So, and also, you know, they've copyrighted like phrases and stuff. The mom has. She's already copyrighted like Save Trayvon and phrases.
Really?
Yeah. No, look, this is on all this. People were tweeting this last week or maybe a week and a half ago, and they got look. I'm just saying they got $1 million from the condo association. Right. I mean, I'm sorry, what do you call it?
It could be the condo, the homeowners association. Well, look, here's the bottom line, Crystal. They, whatever they could get as far as that goes. I mean, a wrongful death, whatever.
No, that's fine.
That's
but
fine.
What I'm saying is, then they're out everywhere. They have a foundation. You know, they're doing more, sadly, since their child died than when they needed to be parents.
Well,
I mean, come on.
Okay, that's neither here nor there. The fact is, if they're doing good, if they're doing good after the fact and making some good out of this really tragic death.
How much you want to bet? We'll talk about this in a couple years, and they won't be doing good. They'll be profiting.
Well, I can't predict. Hey, Crystal, good to talk to you. You'll come back, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Crystal Wright, ladies and gentlemen, and she is the